I reckon that level 2 universe venerables, or even those below level 2 universe venerables, upon hearing this terrifying sound, their combat power will drop greatly. The weaker ones will directly collapse and go crazy. A terrifying power that can affect one's mind. Lei Ming said slowly. The dolphin leader opened its eyes, and its voice came to an abrupt halt. Its eyes flickered with luster. Very powerful indeed. Does this mean that the red spider lily is a terrifying weapon for the dolphin race? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and said with a smile. Yes, but it's a pity that there are too few of them. The leader of the dolphins said. She could use this red spider lily to affect Lei Ming. One could imagine how powerful this black-red spider lily was. Of course, this was also because she was proficient in sound waves. The progenitor tree can allow these red spider lilies to continue growing. Perhaps in the near future, more black-red spider lilies will grow on the progenitor tree. Wang Xian said as he looked at the various treasures at the side. Other than the black-red spider lily, there were no other mystical items. How many resources did we get this time? Wang Xian looked at Prime Minister Turtle. 23 corpses of Universe Venerables. 8 of them were rank 2 Universe Venerables, and the Universe God Nation of the Skeleton Race Venerables. As for the remaining Emperor God corpses, there are about 2 million. Especially the Skeleton Race, all of them have been annihilated. As for the God King corpses, there are tens of billions of them. Moreover, the God Nation of the Skeleton Race is on the Skull Island. This time, the Devouring Dragon will get a significant boost. There are all sorts of divine weapons and treasures. There are also 4 to 5 that can go against Universe Venerables. Currently, we have yet to clear them all. Prime Minister Turtle said with a smile. Wang Xian revealed a satisfied look. The Dragon Palace's harvest this time round was the greatest in its history. He had no idea how much the Dragon Palace could improve. Next, let's celebrate and get all the members to improve their strength. Although we have won this war, we still have a potential enemy, the Ancient Painting Sect. Wang Xian said, Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle and the rest nodded. Over the next 2 days, the Dragon Palace celebrated their victory and sorted out the spoils of the war. 2 days later, all the members began to improve their resources. Wang Xian was in the Dragon King Hall. At this moment, he had transformed into his divine dragon form and was lying beside the dragon bones. He wanted to absorb the Dragon Palace. The dragon bones turned into dragon blood and entered Wang Xian's body rapidly. Because it was a purebred divine dragon bone, the speed of the dragon energy conversion was extremely fast. Sensing the massive energy, Wang Xian revealed an excited look on his face. His eyes were glowing as he absorbed the dragon energy rapidly. The dragon energy in his body was increasing at a terrifying speed. Kakaka. 1 day later, Wang Xian's dragon body began to change. A more majestic aura was emitted from his body. On his body, the dense 8-colored radiance contained traces of lightning energy. From afar, it looked extremely mystical. The 8-colored radiance gradually condensed into the illusory figures of divine dragons. The divine dragons were very small and were only the size of dragon scales. Each divine dragon floated above a dragon scale, densely packed together. Congratulations to host for breaking through to the 7th Order Void God Emperor. Congratulations to host for comprehending the laws of God ability, Dragon Tomb. Name, Wang Xian Race, Yin Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, 1 with the Dragon. Rank, 7th Order Void God Emperor, 8th Transformation of Divine Dragon Transformation, Origin Source. 1%, 99% required for next breakthrough, Superpower. Dominate the marine animals, rule over marine animals that are lower than your own level, devour living creatures. Extract origin source from living creatures. 5 elements control cultivation technique. Divine Dragon Transformation Superpower, Soul Assimilation, Spirit Attachment Nomological Divine Abilities, Dragon Eye Lock, 5 Elements Dragon Claw, Yin Yang World Breaker, 8 Glory Dragon Scale, Holy Dragon Shadow, Subduing Dragon, Dragon Tomb Dharma Form, 5 Elements Grindstone, Dragon Country in the Palm, Dragon Head Descending, 10,000 Mile Dragon Body, Yin Yang Polarity, Yin Yang 5 Elemental Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Whip. Law of Mastery, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light, Dark Wind Divine Kingdom. Dragon Palace possess Dragon Palace. Acquired. Dragon Palace members. 11344550. The voice of the system sounded. Wang Xian looked at the information in his head and revealed a smile. He broke through. The title of the book was, I Have a Book of Investiture of the Gods. It was very interesting and the author was also reading it. Click favorites to vote. End of chapter. Chapter 3165. Heavenly Dragon Tribe Breakthrough. Wang Xian's dragon body coiled in the Dragon King Palace with a smile on his face. The breakthrough in his strength made him comparable to a rank 3 universe venerable. In terms of combat power, he could kill a rank 3 universe venerable instantly with his terrifying speed. At the side, the 5 elements grindstone was absorbing the acquired spiritual treasures. Together with the powerful sky-burying spiritual treasure, the 5 elements grindstone would definitely be enhanced. After the enhancement, the 5 elements grindstone still had the strength to kill a rank 3 universe venerable. The enhancement in his strength put him in a good mood. He moved and came to the dragon transformation pool. At this moment, the disciples of Dragon Palace were rapidly absorbing the dragon blood in the dragon transformation pool. On the 9 dragon pillars around the dragon transformation pool, dragon blood continued to flow from the dragon heads. This time, the Dragon Palace had gained a lot. All the members of the skeleton tribe, all the skeletons, had been transformed into dragon blood. Among the billions of skeletons, some were weak, but with such a large number, they were still terrifying. As a result, Wang Xian could not guess how much the Dragon Palace could improve. But presumably, this was an extremely terrifying number. He swept his gaze around, flew out of the Dragon Palace and came to the Skull Island. At this moment, Roving Crab was leading the devouring dragon to devour the holy nation of the skeleton tribe. A large number of holy nations could also give them a huge boost in strength. All the members of the Dragon Palace were improving rapidly. Just as the Dragon Palace was improving steadily, at the Milky Way, everyone knew about the outcome of the battle. Moreover, the Dense Fog Tribe and a dozen other low-level races in the universe had announced on the artificial intelligence system that they were prohibited from killing the Flood Dragon. This had led to the outcome of the battle. The Dragon Palace and the 3 races fought for 10 days and 10 nights. 10 days later, 2 universe venerables from the ancient painting sect helped the 3 races to attack the Dragon Palace. When the scales of victory tilted towards the 3 races, the Venerable Willow Deity helped the Dragon Palace. The Venerable Willow Deity unleashed the terrifying strength of a rank 3 universe venerable to help the Dragon Palace annihilate the 3 races. The Venerable Willow Deity is too strong. He actually helped the Dragon Palace. This means that the Venerable Willow Deity will be on the same side as the Dragon Palace in the future. The terrifying strength that the Dragon Palace displayed this time is enough to shake the entire Milky Way. No forces are a match for them. When the rest of the people in Inhe received the news, their faces were filled with shock. The Dragon Palace annihilated the 3 clans. In this battle, the Skeleton Tribe was annihilated, and the 9 Swords Tribe was completely destroyed. When the disciples of the 9 Swords race, who were still rushing towards the Milky Way, heard this news, they immediately broke down. All the universe supremacies and powerhouses of their race had died in battle. The current strength of the 9 Swords race was not even comparable to a domain-level race. This caused the 9 Swords race to disband. The 2 races of the universe had completely disappeared. As for the bloodthirsty race, although the Milky Way citizens did not know much about them, they must have suffered heavy losses. On the 3rd day after the Dragon Palace annihilated the 3 clans and the ancient painting sect's 2 universe supremacies, figures exuding boundless might were traversing the vast starry sky. The 2 old men in the lead were standing on top of a simple and unadorned ancient painting. There were mountains and rivers on the ancient painting, and they looked magnificent. The group of 50 people moved at a terrifying speed. However, at this moment, when the leading old man on the ancient painting received a message from the AI, he frowned slightly and his expression changed. He waved his hand, and the surrounding people immediately stopped. What happened to the sect? The old man beside him asked faintly. The rest of the people immediately looked over. These 50 people were the experts of the ancient painting sect, 50 universe supremacies. Their target this time was naturally the Dragon Palace. The ancient painting sect's deputy sect leader had been annihilated, and a descendant of the sect leader had been killed. This enmity was something the ancient painting sect had to avenge. The 9 swords, skeleton, and the bloodthirsty race have been annihilated, and the left and right protectors have also been killed. The willow deity from the Milky Way side has lent a hand to the Dragon Palace. That willow deity has the strength of a rank 3 universe supremacy. Currently, the Dragon Palace has 2 rank 3 universe supremacies. The ancient painting sect's sect leader frowned and said with an ugly expression on his face, "What? Isn't the willow deity from the Milky Way a peak rank 2 universe supremacy? She actually broke through? And even stood together with the Dragon Palace?" One of the ancient painting sect's supremacies had a slight change in expression when he heard this. 2 rank 3 universe supremacies, and they are powerful purebred divine dragons. This is troublesome. The old man on the right ancient painting had a solemn expression on his face. This time, they were originally prepared to fly over and annihilate the Dragon Palace, but they received this news. 2 rank 3 universe supremacies, and the remaining 40 supremacies. This terrifying force was not something they could annihilate. The atmosphere was tense, and the 50 people's expressions were ugly. Sect leader, what should we do now? Are we not going to avenge this? One of the universe supremacies could not help but ask with an ugly expression, just based on our strength, it will be difficult to annihilate the Dragon Palace. The ancient painting sect's sect leader shook his head, looking at the information on the AI, his eyes flashed. The Dragon Palace has many purebred divine dragons. Are they really purebred divine dragons? According to the news we received, the Dragon Palace is developing very quickly. Did they really obtain the inheritance of a powerful divine dragon? One of the universe supremacies asked in shock. They should be purebred divine dragons. I will contact the heavenly dragon race and see if they are willing to help. The ancient painting sect's sect leader hesitated for a moment before saying, Heavenly dragon race? Are they willing to help? The Dragon Palace is also a divine dragon race. Another supremacy said, there are 8 to 9 powerful divine dragon races in the universe. They all want to become true dragons and restore the glory of the divine dragon race. However, the relationship between the divine dragon races is not good. Those who can obtain the inheritance of the divine dragon race and undergo atavism all think that they are the true sons of heaven. How can they be willing to bow down to us? If the heavenly dragon race is like that, then the Dragon Palace should be the same. Given our relationship with the heavenly dragon race, they might be interested. The ancient painting sect's sect leader said plainly, I really envy the races with powerful bloodlines. Back then, the heavenly dragon race tried to curry favor with us. Now, after a few 100 million years, their strength has far surpassed us. However, the heavenly dragon race does not seem to have any purebred divine dragons. Their strength is also the weakest among the divine dragon races. Now that the Dragon Palace has a purebred divine dragon, maybe, the old man beside the ancient painting sect's sect leader murmured. His eyes were shining brightly. Isn't the book recommended yesterday very good? It should be comparable to a divine dragon. Let me recommend it again. Title, I have an investiture of the gods. You can vote for this book. Thank you very much. Chapter 3166. A double breakthrough. There were 10 divine dragon lineages and dragon palaces in the universe. These 10 divine dragon lineages were not on good terms with each other. There had even been wars. All the leaders of the divine dragon lineages wanted to become the true dragon emperor, the king of the divine dragons, and lead the divine dragon race to glory again. However, who was willing to bow down to them? It was especially so for those who had obtained the opportunities of divine dragons and underwent atavism. They had cultivated to this stage and became powerful leaders. They were confident that they could lead the divine dragon race to the pinnacle again. This caused them to be unwilling to accept each other. and they wanted to subdue each other. There was a war. The divine dragon race was relatively weak among the divine dragon lineages. They did not have any purebred divine dragons. To a certain extent, they were even weaker than the Dragon Palace. The ancient painting sect had passed the information about the Dragon Palace to them. Perhaps they would be willing to help. Not for anything else but to covet the purebred divine dragon bloodline of the Dragon Palace. Let's go. We'll make a trip to the Milky Way and find out the exact situation. It would be best if we can set up a teleportation formation. The ancient painting sect leader looked across the group of supremacies and said, "Yes, sect leader." The group of ancient painting sect supremacies nodded and continued to fly forward. Just as the outside world was in an uproar, Wang Xian was smiling as he watched the members of the Dragon Palace improve rapidly. On the 6th day, Wang Xian, who was sitting on the dragon throne, suddenly felt the progenitor tree behind him tremble slightly. He squinted his eyes and sensed it immediately. When he saw the celestial slaying gourd on the progenitor tree tremble, he was slightly stunned. He could feel the celestial slaying gourd being attracted. However, as the celestial slaying gourd belonged to him, it did not fly over. With a thought, Wang Xian released the celestial slaying gourd. Swish! The celestial slaying gourd flew out from the progenitor tree and towards the dragon transformation pool. Wang Xian moved and immediately came to the dragon transformation pool. Within the dragon transformation pool, a willow tree stood in the middle. The willow tree was tens of thousands of meters long and had countless weeping willows. At this moment, there were strange leaves on the weeping willow. The leaves were like dragon scales and gave off a crisp sound. The immortal slaying gourd flew to the top of the willow tree and slowly merged with it. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at willow deity, which had undergone a huge transformation. The willow leaves that looked like dragon scales were the dragon scales that venerable willow deity had obtained from the bloodthirsty race's patriarch. The dragon scales turned into leaves, greatly increasing its attack power. The immortal slaying gourd landed on her body, allowing her to control the immortal slaying gourd. The immortal slaying gourd was a ruler-level divine artifact. In terms of rank, it could be classified as a Khanate cardinal treasure. It was definitely a terrifying killing weapon. However, the immortal slaying gourd had yet to fully mature and had yet to fully recover. The venerable willow deity's realm seems to have dropped, but her aura is even more terrifying. She should be able to reach the power of a rank 4 universe venerable, right? Wang Xian looked over and couldn't help but guess. If willow deity could have the combat power of a rank 4 universe venerable, then the Dragon Palace would have a huge upgrade. A level 4 venerable, such an expert was definitely at the pinnacle of all the lower tier races in the universe. If the Dragon Palace could have over 1,000 venerables, with the universe venerables level 4 as a guide, the Dragon Palace could become a middle-tier race in the universe. However, it wouldn't be as easy to become a middle-tier race in the universe. Wang Xian pondered. Over the next few days, he assisted the 5 Elements Grindstone in devouring various postnatal spiritual treasures. He was waiting for the members of the Dragon Palace to upgrade completely. Time passed, day by day. At this very moment, in a starry sky that was extremely far away. This was a very mystical place. The endless mountain peaks pierced the sky. A vast ocean had submerged half of the mountain peaks. The ocean was extremely clear. Looking over, one could see all kinds of creatures swimming in the water. On the mountain peaks, some of them were covered in ice and snow, with beautiful flowers growing on them. In the ocean below, there was also a humongous dragon palace. However, this dragon palace was called the Heavenly Dragon Palace. The Heavenly Dragon Palace was the palace of the Heavenly Dragon Clan. The Heavenly Dragon Clan hadn't risen for a long time, only a few 100 million years. However, in these few 100 million years, they had established themselves in this void and reached the pinnacle of this starry sky. Here, among the 50 to 60 lower-tier races in the universe, the Heavenly Dragon Clan could be ranked in the top 3. Their formidable strength and terrifying speed of improvement had everyone in awe. Purebred Divine Dragon. At this moment, in the Dragon King Hall of the Heavenly Dragon Palace, A middle-aged man with sharp horns on his head and wearing a dragon robe was sitting on the dragon throne. His eyes were flickering as he looked at the information on the universe AI. If the members of the Dragon Palace saw the Heavenly Dragon Palace and the Dragon King Hall, they would realize that the layout was exactly the same as the Dragon Palace. This meant that the Heavenly Dragon clan had obtained the true legacy of the divine dragons. Heavenly Dragon King. According to the videos and pictures from the ancient painting sect, the Thunder Dragon and Wind Divine Dragon in the Dragon Palace are most likely purebred divine dragons. And the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace seems to have an extraordinary bloodline as well. On the left and right of the Dragon King Hall, there were many people with sharp horns. The old man on the right, who was the leader, said, "Who would have expected a small divine dragon lineage to have a purebred divine dragon? These are purebred divine dragons." Several middle-aged men with sharp horns on their heads exclaimed as their eyes shone with passion. The ancient painting sect's intention is clear. They want us to join them in annihilating the Dragon Palace. The old woman on the left, who was the leader, said faintly, "The purebred divine dragon bloodline is very attractive to us, but at the same time, it also greatly suppresses us. If we fight at the same level, we won't be their match." The old man on the right added, "The Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace is about to open." The leader, Heavenly Dragon King, suddenly said, "There are still 3 years. 3 years later, the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace will open. This time, there will probably be many sea demons and aquatic creatures coming." The old woman on the left replied immediately, "Send this news to the Dragon Palace. Duke Tianlong, Mother Tianlong, follow me." Dragon King Tianlong said as he stood up slowly and flew towards the back. The two old men on the left and right moved and immediately followed behind. In front of them was a huge mountain. The top half of the mountain was above the sea and the bottom half was at the bottom of the sea. On the mountain, there was a huge word, "Forbidden," written. When Duke Tianlong and Mother Tianlong saw Dragon King Tianlong bringing them here, they were slightly shocked. "Lord Dragon King Tianlong, you brought us here," the two looked ahead solemnly and asked. This was the forbidden area of the Heavenly Dragon clan. Purebred bloodline, the lifelong pursuit of our divine dragon lineage. This Dragon King also wants to have a purebred bloodline. He murmured, "Dragon King Tianlong, you want to use that heaven-stealing meridian-changing forbidden item." The two were shocked. Chapter 3167. Sect Leader, has the Heavenly Dragon tribe replied? At the edge of the Milky Way, 50 figures were floating in the sky. An old man saw the sect leader frowning and immediately asked. They replied, "The Heavenly Dragon King wants us to wait for 3 years. After 3 years, we will wait for their news." The ancient painting sect's sect leader frowned as he spoke. 3 years? What does the Heavenly Dragon tribe want 3 years for? Are they helping us or not? The old man said, "In 3 years, the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace will open. Every time the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace opens, it's a feast for water-kind spirit creatures in the surrounding starry void. The sky dragons rose because of the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace." A white-haired old man pondered before continuing. The Heavenly Dragon tribe did not reject it. This means that they are still coveting the Dragon Palace. After all, the Dragon Palace is weaker than them, but they have purebred divine dragons. As for why they are waiting for the Sky Sea Dragon Palace to open, perhaps they have their own plans. As he spoke, he looked at the sect leader. "We can still wait for 3 years." The ancient painting sect leader nodded. "However, we can't do nothing in these 3 years. Connect the array here. 3 years is enough." "Yes, sect leader." The venerables of the ancient painting sects nodded. Given their strength, they could do nothing to the Dragon Palace. They could only wait for the Heavenly Dragon tribe to help them. 3 years was just a snap of the fingers to them. They could afford to wait. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Days passed. Within the Dragon Palace, a majestic aura was coming from the dragon transformation pool. Swish, swish, swish. Sensing the majestic aura, Wang Xian and the leaders of the Dragon Palace flew over immediately. Above the dragon transformation pool, Venerable Willow Deity was floating in the air. Her humanoid body seemed to be draped with a layer of weeping willow clothes. The entire weeping willow clothes were tens of thousands of meters long, and each weeping willow was covered with dragon scales. On top of her head, there was a calabash. The calabash was small, palm-sized, and looked like an ornament. Venerable Willow Deity has completed her transformation? Damn, what a powerful aura. She should be comparable to a rank for Universe Venerable now, right? A surprised voice came out from Emo Shah's mouth as he looked on in shock. Willow Deity's realm has dropped. He's only a Universe Level 1, but he can fight 3 levels higher, comparable to a Universe Level 4. Sensing the strength of Willow Deity, Wang Xian chuckled. He's really powerful. He's not bad-looking. Devil Fiend clicked his tongue. Demon Fiend, you can go after him. Speaking of which, our Dragon Palace hasn't given birth to a dragon yet. I think we can hold a blind date in the Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle joked in a good mood. Hee, I think Prime Minister Turtle needs to find a female turtle first. Emo Shah teased. Wang Xian chuckled at their words. Indeed, the current members of the Dragon Palace were all outsiders. When would the members of the Dragon Palace directly marry and give birth to a new dragon? He was looking forward to it. Greetings, Dragon King. Willow Deity completed its advancement and looked at Wang Xian. It immediately flew over and bowed respectfully. Yes, get up. How about it? Wang Xian looked at her with satisfaction and asked. Dragon King, although my realm has dropped, my strength has improved. I'm a rank 4 Universe Venerable now. I can kill him. Willow Deity said confidently. Great. Wang Xian nodded in satisfaction. Replacing willow leaves with dragon scales and a killing weapon like the immortal slaying gourd. Willow Deity's strength had reached a terrifying level. The other members of the Dragon Palace are almost done with their advancement. Wang Xian looked into the dragon transformation pool and his eyes shone brightly. In the next few days, the members of the Dragon Palace started making breakthroughs. Every day, the Dragon Palace would emit waves of majestic aura. This was a breakthrough that belonged to the Universe Venerables. The Dragon Palace originally had 40 Universe Venerables. After a month, the number of Universe Venerables in the Dragon Palace had reached 80. It had doubled. Over 20 corpses of Universe Venerables and over 100 peak Void God Emperor corpses. In addition to a large amount of resources, the number of Universe Venerables in the Dragon Palace had doubled. And the number of rank 2 Universe Venerables in the Dragon Palace had also increased by 7. It was a pity that other than Wang Xian, the resources obtained this time could not increase the combat power of rank 3 Universe Venerables in the Dragon Palace. But the advancement this time was already terrifying enough. After all, the addition and breakthrough of Willow Deity had increased the strength of the Dragon Palace to another level. The God Emperor disciples of the Dragon Palace had even more terrifying improvements. The entire Skeleton Clan had over 30,000 experts from the Nine Swords Clan and 1 million elites from the Bloodthirsty Clan. The dragon blood condensed from their corpses was too huge. Even though the Dragon Palace had 1 million members, it was still able to increase their strength to a terrifying level. The 10,000 witch dragons of the Dragon Palace had all reached the Void 9th Order God Emperor combat power with a huge amount of resources. What did this mean? 10,000 witch dragons controlling the Heaven Divination chessboard was comparable to 10,000 peak Void God Emperors. Of course, just the improvement of the witch dragons had consumed 70% of the resources. Such an improvement was also due to the Heaven Divination chessboard. On the Heaven Insight chessboard, 10,000 dragon shamans could even annihilate 100 First Order universe supremacies. This was the reason why the Dragon Palace consumed 70% of the resources to improve them. But the remaining 30% of the resources had also greatly improved the other members of the Dragon Palace. Currently, the weakest member of the Dragon Palace was a 4th Order God Emperor. In addition, the devouring dragons had devoured all the god nations of the Skeleton Clan and their strength had greatly improved. None of the devouring dragons were weaker than a 3rd Order God Emperor. And this time, the devouring dragon had 1 more Universe Level 2 Venerable and 3 more Universe Level 1 Venerables. The improvement this time was extremely huge for the Dragon Palace. A month later, All the members of the Dragon Palace gathered in the Dragon Field, each of them emitting a powerful aura. Greetings to the Dragon King, the generals of the Dragon Palace. All the members of the Dragon Palace were filled with excitement as they knelt in front of them. Get up. The improvement of the Dragon Palace has allowed us to stand at the pinnacle of the Milky Way. From now on, all the disciples of the Dragon Palace will focus on hunting in the Milky Way. Enjoy the scenery of the universe and consolidate your strength. Wang Xian instructed with a smile. Ever since the Dragon Palace stepped into the center of the universe, they had not had a good rest and interaction with others. Next, Wang Xian wanted the members of the Dragon Palace to consolidate their strength. He wanted the members of the Dragon Palace to enjoy the scenery in the Milky Way. It was also considered a holiday. Chapter 3168. Ever since Wang Xian announced that the Dragon Palace would be settling down, the members of the Dragon Palace had nothing to do. Prime Minister Turtle came up with a plan. Every month, half of the Dragon Palace's combat dragons would go hunting in the Milky Way. He hunted some aquatic wild beasts in the Milky Way. The other half of the members could move within the Dragon Palace or within the Milky Way. This made the members of Dragon Palace completely relaxed. Ever since the Dragon Palace had developed, the members of the Dragon Palace had spent most of their time cultivating. Now that they had time to go out and play, some disciples of Dragon Palace also became active in the Milky Way. This allowed the disciples of some clans to see the members of the Dragon Palace. Facing the disciples of Dragon Palace, the disciples of the other forces were also full of amazement. Not only because of the strength of Dragon Palace, but also because of the strength of the disciples of Dragon Palace. Time passed day by day, and Yin He's side also completely stabilized. The disciples of the Dragon Palace were active in the Milky Way. Every month, a large number of wild beasts in the water were hunted by the Dragon Palace. The universe venerable level desolate beasts in the few powerful places in the Milky Way were also subdued by the Dragon Palace. Among them, 2 level 2 universe venerable wild beasts were subdued by Wang Xian. Under Dark Lie's guidance, they came to another part of the galaxy to sell their items. Wang Xian and the rest were no strangers to this starry sky. This was the starry sky where the ancient painting sect was located. In this area, the starry sky's spirit chi was relatively rich, and 50 to 60 of the universe's primary races gathered here. Moreover, there were fourth-order venerable realm powerhouses in this part of the universe. Wang Xian and the rest had put the battlefield of the universe supremacy level up for sale here. During the auction, it had caused a huge commotion. 2 second-rank venerable rank battle pets allowed the Dragon Palace to obtain a large amount of resources. In these 2 years, the number of Dragon Palace universe venerables increased by 10, and the number of level 3 universe venerables increased by 2. One was the heavenly formation, and the other was the Orochi. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye in the universe. But in the past 2 years, the Dragon Palace had been improving at a fast pace. However, over the past 2 years, the Dragon Palace had hunted down a large number of aquatic desolate beasts in the Milky Way. All the supremacies in the universe had been subdued. Dragon King, the resources in the Milky Way have almost been plundered by our Dragon Palace. It will be difficult to continue to improve. 2.5 years later, Wang Xian received a report from Prime Minister Turtle. Although the Milky Way is rich in resources, our Dragon Palace is also a bottomless pit. Wang Xian said plainly as his eyes flickered, "Dragon King, are we going to explore other galaxies next?" Prime Minister Turtle hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Let's wait a little longer. Don't be too anxious. Let our Dragon Palace members have a good rest." Wang Xian shook his head. The Dragon Palace was not in a hurry to relocate. He was prepared to stay in the Milky Way for at least 10 years. 10 years later, he would consider going to another starry sky. After all, it had only been 30 to 40 years since the establishment of the Dragon Palace. The other primary races in the universe, which one of them didn't develop for hundreds of millions of years, or even billions of years. Therefore, it was good for the Dragon Palace to settle down. All right. Prime Minister Turtle also nodded in agreement. Allowing the members of the Dragon Palace to move around in the universe would be of great benefit to them. Is there any movement from the ancient painting sect? Wang Xian asked. Ever since the Dragon Palace wiped out the 3 clans 2 years ago, the ancient painting sect didn't come for revenge, nor did they announce anything on the universe AI. It was as though the Dragon Palace didn't kill the 3 rank 2 supremacies. No, we are too far away from the ancient painting sect. We don't have much information on them. However, given the strength we displayed, the ancient painting sect wouldn't be able to wipe us out. They might not have taken any action if they weren't confident. However, the Dragon Palace still has to be vigilant. Prime Minister Turtle shook his head. Let the disciples of the Dragon Palace outside take note. Wang Xian nodded. Since the feud with the ancient painting sect had been formed, they had to take precautions. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. Time passed, day by day. Occasionally, some primary races from other universes in the Milky Way would pay a visit and present some gifts. Wang Xian didn't reject their goodwill and made clear the stance of the Dragon Palace. As long as others didn't bully the Dragon Palace wouldn't bully others. And just 2 months later, a piece of news caused quite a stir in the Milky Way. The news came from the Sky Sea. The Sky Sea was located in the starry sky where the ancient painting sect was located. It was an ocean on a huge land. That piece of land was very big, and there were all kinds of demonic beasts living on it. The Sky Sea was also incomparably huge. Although there was a huge gap between it and the Milky Way, the spirit chi there was more abundant than the Milky Way. Most importantly, it was once the residence of a divine dragon. The residence of a powerful purebred divine dragon. There was also a dragon palace there. The rise of the celestial dragon clan was because of that dragon palace. The dragon palace was called the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace. It was rumored to be the dragon palace of the Heavenly Sea Dragon King. Once upon a time, the Tianhai Dragon King was one of the overlords of that region of space. In the end, he died and left behind his dragon palace. It was rumored that the dragon palace contained the inheritance of the divine dragon clan. Many powerful existences had entered before, only to return helplessly. There was only one way to enter the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace opened and he passed through the Dragon Gate. The Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace opened once every 10,000 years for a month. Rumor had it that those who passed through the Dragon Palace would be able to leap over the Dragon Gate. Every time the Dragon's Gate opened, it was a feast for the demonic beasts. In the past, this news did not cause such a stir in the Milky Way. But this time, for some reason, it caused an uproar. But it also tempted many powerful demonic beasts, especially the demonic beasts of the Water Clan. Leaping through the Dragon's Gate was the dream of many. Moreover, if one could make the Dragon's Gate, it would be easy to join the Dragon Palace. The location of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian was also the first to receive the news. When he saw the content, he was slightly stunned. The ruins of the Heavenly Sea Dragon King's Dragon Palace? The Dragon Palace of a powerful divine dragon? This surprised him, and his eyes sparkled. He had never seen a dragon palace of a divine dragon. The Heavenly Sea Dragon King's Dragon Palace? Indeed, there are all kinds of opportunities in this vast universe. Wang Xian murmured and revealed a smile. Prime Minister Turtle, send someone to check out the situation of the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace. He immediately gave the order. Since he had obtained the ruins of a dragon palace, he naturally had to check it out. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle answered immediately and walked out. Chapter 3169. The Sky Sea Dragon King Dragon Palace was located on the Roaring Dragon Continent. The entire Roaring Dragon Continent was considered a huge continent in the surrounding starry skies. Half of the continent was the ocean. The ocean was called the Sky Sea. The Sky Sea was very famous in the surrounding starry skies because it was where the true dragon lived. The Sky Sea Dragon Palace opened once every 10,000 years. Each time, a large number of demonic beasts would gather, mainly aquatic demonic beasts. The Dragon Palace had opened tens of thousands of times. So far, only demonic beasts could make the Great Leap. This was also why demonic beasts dominated the opening of the Dragon Palace. All kinds of great demons gathered here, wanting to enter the Dragon Palace. Those who could be called great demons were existences of the universe supremacy level. Everyone who was able to enter the Dragon Palace would be able to gain a lot. Even the weakest could be transformed into a sky dragon and achieve a breakthrough in strength. 3 days later, Wang Xian read the information about the Sky Sea Dragon Palace with sparkling eyes. Dragon King, I think we should go and take a look at the opening of the Sky Sea Dragon Palace. The leader of the Sky Dragon clan was a sky dragon. After entering, he obtained great opportunities and established a strong force today. Prime Minister Turtle suggested, "We should go and take a look. But I'm a little curious. Why hasn't anyone inherited the Sky Sea Dragon Palace after billions of years?" Wang Xian nodded, feeling a little puzzled. The Sky Sea Dragon Palace had been discovered for billions of years. According to records, many existences above rank 5 universe supremacy had come to explore it, but all returned in failure. This made him feel a little strange. Could there be dragons in the Dragon Palace? Or perhaps the owner of the Sky Sea Dragon Palace was a very powerful divine dragon when he was alive. He was so powerful that he was above the universe supremacy level, the universe dominator level. The Dragon Palace of the universe dominator level could be so powerful. If it was really a Dragon Palace of the universe dominator level, there must be powerful treasures inside. I'll bring Willow Deity over to take a look in a few days. The rest of the members don't have to go. Wang Xian said. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. There was no need to bring too many people to the Sky Sea Dragon Palace ruins. He and Willow Deity were enough. Over the next few days, news about the Sky Sea Dragon Palace was still buzzing in the Milky Way. In the next few days, the news about the Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace in the Milky Way was still buzzing. Countless people were talking about it. In addition, the Dragon Palace, which belonged to the divine dragon lineage, had just risen. People were talking about it even more. The Qingzhou trading firm will open a teleportation formation between the Milky Way and the starry skies around the roaring dragon continent for trade. At this moment, a message suddenly spread throughout the Milky Way. When the higher-ups of the various forces saw this message, they were slightly surprised. The Qingzhou trading firm actually opened a teleportation portal between our side and theirs. What a big move! Opening the teleportation formation over such a long distance would probably consume a lot of energy, right? I wonder what kind of big business the Qingzhou Trading Company wants to do. Now that the teleportation array is open, it will be much easier for us to travel to their region of space. As expected of the Qingzhou Trading Firm, they are really generous, but the teleportation fee is so expensive. The opening of the Qingzhou Trading Firm's teleportation formation did not cause too much of a stir, but every powerful race received the news. The best thing about activating the teleportation formation was that it saved time. If one were to travel from the Milky Way to the Qingzhou Trading Company, even a level 1 universe venerable would need a few months to fly. However, if the teleportation array was activated, it would only take 1 day to arrive. In the past, the Milky Way did not have a teleportation array there. The main reason was that the consumption was too great. Even for a primary race in the universe, it wasn't worth it. Perhaps only a large trading company like this would activate a teleportation array of this level. The Qingzhou trading firm has opened the teleportation array. What a good timing! In the Dragon King Hall, Wang Xian was pleasantly surprised when he heard the news. Originally, he had planned to fly over in 2 days. Now that he had this teleportation array, it would be much more convenient. However, Wang Xian did not intend to stay any longer. In the afternoon, he called Willow Deity along, and the two of them flew toward the location of the Qingzhou trading firm's teleportation array. Begin teleportation. When he arrived at the teleportation portal, he took out a large number of god stones and handed them over. All right. The powerhouse from the Qingzhou Trading Company nodded and immediately activated the teleportation array. The teleportation formation was located on the Silver Gazing continent. After entering the teleportation formation, their figures flickered, and they only came out after a full 10 minutes. This time, they appeared on top of a meteor. Because the distance was too far, the Qingzhou Trading Company had no choice but to make a stop midway. While Wang Xian and the others were teleporting, A message was sent to the ancient painting sect. Sect leader, the Dragon King and Willow deity have arrived. In the main hall of the ancient painting sect, an old man reported to the sect leader of the ancient painting sect, "Are they here?" The eyes of the sect leader of the ancient painting sect flickered, and he immediately sent the message out. "Sect leader, what is the Heavenly Dragon clan doing? They have waited for 3 years and built the teleportation array. I don't understand what they are trying to do with such great efforts." The old man couldn't help but ask. The Heavenly Dragon clan must have a motive for going through such great efforts. It might be related to the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace. Let's wait for news from the Heavenly Dragon clan for now. The Heavenly Dragon King said that they can make their move very soon. The sect leader of the ancient painting sect shook his head. He had no idea what the Heavenly Dragon clan was planning. "They are here." In the Heavenly Dragon Palace, the Heavenly Dragon King received the message from the sect leader of the ancient painting sect. His eyes were burning with passion. The opportunity was here. The opportunity for him to transform was here. "Heavenly Dragon King, are we going to set up an ambush in the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace this time?" Duke Tianlong, who was in the Heavenly Dragon Palace, asked with flickering eyes. "There's no need for that. I have my own plans. Wait for my message. When I give the order, you guys and the ancient painting sect can just destroy the Dragon Palace directly. Remember, capture all the purebred divine dragons in the Dragon Palace alive. Whether you can evolve or not will depend on this." The Heavenly Dragon King's eyes flickered as he spoke to him. "Yes, Heavenly Dragon King." Duke Tianlong nodded his head heavily. His eyes were filled with anticipation and agitation. They were merely avatar dragons, and there was still a huge gap between them and purebred divine dragons. If the Heavenly Dragon King could succeed, they would also be able to transform successfully and become true divine dragons. "Go and get ready." As the Heavenly Dragon King spoke, he made a move and headed towards the back. He carefully opened the mountain peak that had the word "Forbidden" written on it and entered. Chapter 3170, Heavenly Ocean Dragon Palace. Let's go to the Roaring Dragon Continent. Wang Xian and Willow Deity walked out of the teleporter on a planet. He looked at the route on the universe intelligent brain and said immediately, "Dragon King, there's still a month before the opening of the Dragon Palace." Willow Deity said, "Yes, there's still a month. However, this is our first time here, so we need to check out the situation here. Let's see what's going on with the Dragon Palace." Wang Xian said. Wang Xian was curious about the Dragon Palace of a powerful divine dragon. What was the difference between this Dragon Palace and the one created by the system? Does it also have the powerful functions that the system has in creating the Dragon Palace? As he thought about it, they flew towards the Roaring Dragon Continent. The Roaring Dragon Continent was located in the east of this starry sky. It wasn't the first time Wang Xian came to this starry sky, but he didn't stay here for long. The number of experts here was much more than the Milky Way. In fact, a powerful primary race in the universe could wipe out all the forces in the Milky Way. After traveling through the starry sky for 2 hours, a huge continent appeared in his sight. Wang Xian looked over and squinted his eyes. This was a continent that was more than 10 times bigger than the Wangyin continent. At this moment, he could see figures flying over from the surrounding void. Some of the figures were huge bird-type demonic beasts. Some were rhinoceros-like demonic beasts that rode in the clouds. There were also demonic beasts that galloped in the void like cheetahs. There were all kinds of demonic beasts that exuded a strong murderous aura. There were also demonic beasts that flew in human form. One by one, demonic beasts rushed towards the Roaring Dragon Continent from all directions. Wang Xian looked around and realized that many of the demonic beasts were very strong. He could vaguely sense demonic beasts of the Supremacy Realm. His eyes fell on the Roaring Dragon Continent ahead. The entire continent was lush, and it was basically covered by towering trees. This Roaring Dragon Continent isn't simple. Willow Deity stared at the continent, her eyes sparkling. Wang Xian nodded. According to the information obtained by the Dragon Palace, there were more than 10 Supremacy Realm demonic beasts in the entire Roaring Dragon Continent. There were even rank 3 supremacy realm demonic beasts. They lived here and coveted the heavenly ocean dragon palace in the sky sea. These demonic beasts did not unite to form a force. They were basically acting on their own, waiting for opportunities. Come, let's go straight to the sky sea. Wang Xian and the rest did not land on the ground but continued to fly forward. Half an hour later, an ocean appeared in their line of sight. The incomparably huge sky sea was not very deep, only tens of thousands of kilometers. Compared to the Milky Way, it was much shallower. Go! Wang Xian and the rest made a move and dived into the ocean. Following the directions, they headed towards the center. In the ocean, the number of demonic beasts was even greater. Their unified target was the front, and they did not interfere with each other. Boom! At this time, Wang Xian sensed a terrifying aura coming from the side. A demonic beast that looked like an octopus was exuding a strong aura and charging straight ahead. When the other demonic beasts in the surroundings sensed this aura, they revealed looks of awe and hurriedly hid to the side. That was a great demon of the universe supremacy level. Every time the Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace opens, many big monsters from the surrounding stars will come. It is said that last time it opened, more than 200 big monsters came. Said Wang Xian as his eyes sparkled. Not only would the big monsters from this galaxy rush over, but the big monsters from other galaxies would also rush over. Over here, it was best to keep a low profile without the strength of a great demon. Even if it was a great demon of the universe supremacy level, it was better not to be too arrogant. Because there were crouching tigers and hidden dragons here. Wang Xian and the rest did not stand out too much. As they watched the big monster fly over, they increased their speed. After flying for another half an hour, they sensed a strong aura coming from the front. An incomparably huge palace stood in the deepest part of the sky sea. The entire palace spanned tens of millions of kilometers. Other than containing a terrifying power, the palace looked a little ancient. It looked a little sacred. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and looked at the dragon palace in front of him. He felt a sense of familiarity from his bloodline. This was the Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace. Now, the Dragon Palace looked as though it was in a deep slumber and did not look extraordinary. Facing them was the West Dragon Gate. The West Dragon Gate looked similar to the Dragon Gate created by the system. The entire Dragon Gate contained mysterious energy. Around the Dragon Gate, many people and demonic beasts had already arrived. However, they did not dare to rashly challenge the Dragon Gate. Before the Dragon Palace was opened, any rash actions would cost you your life. As they approached the Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace, Wang Xian and Willow Deity sized it up carefully. It's similar to the Dragon Palace created by the system, but there are some differences. Wang Xian mumbled as he sized it up. He looked around and said, "Come, let's take a look around the Dragon Palace." There was a grayish energy floating above the Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace, blocking everyone's vision. The grayish energy in the sky was full of destructive power. No one dared to step in recklessly. Wang Xian circled around the Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace. Unfortunately, he could only see the periphery and could not see the exact situation inside. At this time, he saw a demonic beast race in front of him. There were a few hundred of them. They had huge wings and their bodies were like pythons. There was a single horn on their heads. From this demonic beast race, he could sense a trace of divine dragon bloodline. It should belong to the avatar dragon. However, they might have more of other bloodlines in their bodies. The leader of the demonic beasts had the might of a rank 2 universe venerable. The surrounding demonic beasts did not dare to approach them. The avatar dragon with a trace of divine dragon bloodline. Of course, it might not be right to call them avatar dragon. This is a powerful demonic beast race. Wang Xian mumbled. Other than the leader, there were 3 other universe venerables among the hundreds of demonic beasts. Seems like many powerful beings have come to the Empyrean Ocean Dragon Palace this time. He thought to himself as he continued to search around the Dragon Palace. Rumble, rumble, rumble. When he came to another location, he suddenly heard the sound of battle. He was slightly taken aback when he saw a figure rushing towards him. The figure had a human body and a snake's tail. Her upper body was that of a woman, while her lower body was that of a snake. At this moment, she was fleeing with a face full of fear. Little snake girl, still trying to escape? Behind him, a powerful aura rushed towards him. This aura was very familiar to Wang Xian. He looked over and saw a demonic beast that looked like an octopus chasing after him. Goo goo. A unique sound came from her body and a poisonous mist shrouded the area ahead. Chapter 3171. Wang Wang. Somewhere in the heavenly sea dragon palace, the horrifying black poisonous fog was spreading forward. The surrounding demonic beasts dodged to the side in fear. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows as he looked at the poisonous fog coming towards him and the female demonic beast with a human body and a snake tail. This woman reminded him of a powerful existence from Earth's mythology, Nuwa. Of course, there was no Nuwa or sage in the universe. Wang Xian saw the female snake flying towards him and the poisonous fog spreading towards him. He waved his arm. In an instant, the poisonous fog dissipated. Who? Which damned thing dares to stop me, the thousand weapons great demon? The eyes of the octopus-like great demon in front of him were filled with coldness as he stared at Wang Xian with more than 10 eyes. Thank you. Thank you for saving my life, senior. When the female snake saw Wang Xian purifying all the poisonous fog, she felt as though she had just survived a calamity. She didn't dare to stay any longer. Her figure gradually turned illusory and disappeared. Wang Xian looked at her without saying a word. Seeing the female snake escaping back to her god kingdom, the thousand weapons great demon stared at Wang Xian. Brat, tell me your name. To be able to erase his attack in an instant, the other party was definitely at the venerable realm. The thousand weapons great demon didn't dare to attack recklessly. Don't be too arrogant. Wang Xian stared at the thousand weapons great demon and said emotionlessly. The thousand weapons great demon was unscrupulous when he came. Just now, he even launched an area of effect attack. If Wang Xian wasn't here, he wouldn't care. But since he was here, he wouldn't allow this guy to act arrogantly in front of him. Father, have you caught that female snake? I want her to be my female slave. At this moment, a few demonic beasts similar to the thousand weapons great demon flew over. They looked around and said, "That thousand weapons great demon is from the demon god palace. A great demon from the demon god palace. The demon god palace is very powerful here. Who are those two? Since he dared to attack, he must be at the venerable realm." Some demonic beasts discussed softly in the surroundings. Demon god palace? When Wang Xian heard the discussions around him, he raised his eyebrows. He had heard of the demon god palace, a very powerful demonic beast faction. The entire demon god palace had 9 demonic beast clans, each of which had a great demon. It could be said that the demon god palace was one of the more powerful demonic beast forces in the surrounding starry skies. Wang Xian looked at the few demonic beasts that were flying over. He squinted his eyes and flew ahead without saying a word. The thousand weapons great demon stared coldly at Wang Xian and Willow Deity. He hesitated for a moment and did not strike. The other party was not weak. If he was alone, he would not rashly fight with him. Father! A few demonic beasts at the side saw their father's solemn expression and called out softly. We were disturbed by that guy. Let's go. Thousand weapons great demon said coldly as he flew to the side. Wang Xian continued to circle around the entire heavenly sea dragon palace, checking out the situation. In the following days, more and more demonic beasts gathered at the heavenly ocean dragon palace. The opening of the heavenly ocean dragon palace was getting closer and closer. Wang Xian waited quietly beside the east gate of the heavenly ocean dragon palace. According to some information he had obtained, the opening of the heavenly ocean dragon palace would sometimes have 4 dragon gates open at the same time, and sometimes only 1 dragon gate would open. However, he was sure that the east gate would open every time. At the east gate, a large number of demonic beasts had already gathered. At a glance, there were hundreds of venerable realm demonic beasts. This was a feast for the demonic beasts. One day before the opening of the heavenly ocean dragon palace, a roar came from behind. A terrifying aura spread out. The demonic beasts at the east gate shuddered and immediately looked behind. It's the Heavenly Dragon Clan. The Heavenly Dragon Clan is here. SSS, the leader of the Heavenly Dragon Clan, should be at the front. This, 4 venerable realm Heavenly Dragons pulling the dragon throne. They are indeed the Heavenly Dragon Clan. This is a powerful clan of the divine dragon bloodline in the universe. Every time the Heavenly Ocean Dragon Palace opens, the Heavenly Dragon Clan will definitely be there. They can enter the Dragon Palace easily. It is also because of the Heavenly Ocean Dragon Palace that the Heavenly Dragon Clan could rise so quickly. The surrounding demonic beasts looked over. Even some of the greater demons were staring at them with flickering eyes. The Heavenly Dragon Clan was very strong and had great prestige among the demonic beasts. After all, the Heavenly Dragon Clan had several third-order universe venerables. In front, the 4 heavenly dragons pulling the dragon throne roared. At the center of the east gate of the Heavenly Ocean Dragon Palace, all the demonic beasts made way for them. The Heavenly Dragon King looked around and paused on Wang Xian for a few seconds. His eyes were flickering. He sat on the dragon throne and did not speak. He looked ahead majestically and waited quietly. The surrounding demonic beasts looked over in awe, their eyes flickering. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Not long after, several powerful auras came from behind him again. The undisguised aura attracted the attention of all the demonic beasts. It's the 4 palace masters of the Demon God Palace. The group of demonic beasts looked back and saw tens of thousands of demonic beasts flying over. They saw a dozen figures in the lead and spoke. Another powerful force, the Demon God Palace, rushed over. They were in human form. The ones in the lead had a bird beast head, a lion head, a tiger head, and a fish head. They were filled with barbaric aura. The 4 palace masters of the Demon God Palace. The Demon God Palace had 9 clans and 9 palaces. This time, 4 palace masters were here. The Demon God Palace isn't weak at all. Wang Xian looked around and sensed that the palace master of the Demon God Palace with a bird beast head had third-order universe venerables. Dragon King, you're early. The palace master with a bird beast head looked at Dragon King Tian in the center and spoke plainly. The Demon God Palace is really persistent. You guys come every time. So what if you're here? You can't pass the Dragon Gate. Dragon King Tian looked at the Demon God Palace and spoke plainly. How would you know if you don't try? The Heavenly Dragon Clan has entered the Heavenly Ocean Dragon Palace so many times, but you still haven't obtained the inheritance of the Heavenly Ocean Dragon King. I don't think you guys have any hope. The palace master with a bird beast head had a slight change in expression. He laughed and retorted, "Shut up." Upon hearing him, Dragon King Tian looked over with cold eyes. Tisk. The palace master with a bird beast head from the Demon God Palace snorted and didn't dare to continue provoking. Chapter 3172. As the powerful forces arrived, the surrounding demonic beasts waited quietly. A few hours later, tens of millions of demonic beasts gathered at the east gate of the Sky Sea Dragon Palace. Among them, there were no less than 150 supremacies. These were not the hidden grand demons. 10 hours later, the Dragon Palace in front of them suddenly trembled. The gray mist above the Dragon Palace slowly dissipated, and rays of golden brilliance shone from the Dragon Palace in front of them. The graveyard-like Dragon Palace seemed to be emitting vitality at this moment. The golden light slowly spread to the surroundings. It reflected the surrounding seabed. The Sky Sea Dragon Palace is about to open. It's been 10,000 years. I've been waiting for 10,000 years. This time, I must go through the Dragon Gate. This time, only the East Gate is open. As long as I make the Great Leap, I will have the Divine Dragon bloodline. I can refine my bloodline and improve my strength. In the surrounding area, the eyes of the demonic beasts were burning with passion. They were all extremely excited and couldn't wait to rush into the Dragon Palace. The golden light shone brighter and brighter. The dragon pillars on both sides of the gigantic Dragon Gate gradually radiated brilliance. The brilliance formed the shape of a dragon gate. It was a golden illusory dragon gate with a golden divine dragon sitting on it, exuding boundless majesty. As long as they could pass this dragon gate, they could enter the dragon palace. The dragon gate was formed. It's starting. Seeing the dragon gate completely formed, the surrounding demonic beasts were agitated. The dragon gate is open again. I'll go in first. When Dragon King Tian saw the opening of the dragon palace, he immediately flew into the dragon palace. As he flew inside, there were other figures flying past him at high speed. One by one, they flew to the front of the dragon gate and entered without any obstruction. Wang Xian looked over and squinted his eyes. Is it because they have gone through the dragon gate before? That's why they can enter so easily? Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he saw at least 100 figures entering without any obstruction. Let's go, Dragon Gate. The grand demons from the Demon God Palace roared and flew towards the Dragon Gate. Dragon Gate. The rest of the demonic beasts roared excitedly and flew forward. At the same time, inside the Sky Sea Dragon Palace, when the hundreds of people entered the palace, the demonic beasts looked at each other and rushed forward without hesitation. Dragon King Tian turned his body around quietly. This time, he was the only one who came from the Heavenly Dragon Clan. He looked at the world outside the dragon sect and locked his gaze on Wang Xian. His eyes were filled with passion. A black box appeared in his hand. The box was sealed, and it seemed to contain great terror. I'm the deepest in the entire Heavenly Ocean Dragon Palace. As long as I lure him here, as Dragon King Tian spoke, his body trembled and he continued to mutter, that Dragon King feels even stronger than a pure divine dragon. As he spoke, he stood there and watched silently. When he saw the picture of the Dragon King, he had this intuition. Come, let's go in, said Wang Xian to Willow Deity, who was beside him, as he watched the dragon gate open completely. It's Dragon King. Willow Deity nodded and immediately followed behind. In the surroundings, many demonic beasts flew towards the dragon gate. Boom boom boom. In the center, the 4 palace masters of the Demon God Palace exuded terrifying aura and charged towards the dragon gate. Behind them, over 10,000 disciples of the Demon God Palace followed closely. The demonic beasts frowned when they sensed their aura. Even some of the greater beasts paused for a moment and made way for him. Our Demon God Palace will go through the dragon gate first. The rest of the demonic beasts will wait. The bird-headed palace master reprimanded in a domineering manner. When Wang Xian heard the voice from the center, he raised an eyebrow. He ignored it and flew over. It's that guy. How arrogant. Isn't he giving face to the Demon God Palace? Thousand Weapons Great Demon was on the right of the 4 palace masters. When he saw Wang Xian and the rest, he squinted his eyes. Scram. Didn't you hear what our palace master said? Thousand Weapons Great Demon's eyes flashed with a sinister light as he transformed into an octopus-like demonic beast. A tentacle lashed out at Wang Xian. Courting death. Scram. Willow Deity sensed that Thousand Weapons Great Demon dared to attack them. Coldness flashed in her eyes. She waved her arm and pieces of razor-sharp willow leaves that resembled dragon scales struck towards Thousand Weapons Great Demon. The speed of the dragon-scaled willow leaves was terrifying. In an instant, they arrived before Thousand Weapons Great Demon. What? Oh no! Palace Master, save me! The Thousand Weapons Great Demon's eyes instantly revealed a look of horror, and he loudly cried for help. The reason why he dared to attack was that he could count on the palace masters and the other great demons of the Demon God Palace. He could also take revenge on that guy for obstructing him from hunting the female snake. However, he did not expect the other party to disregard him and the Demon God Palace and attack him directly. What was even more unexpected was that the other party's strength was so terrifying. In the center, the 4 palace masters of the Demon God Palace sensed the situation and were shocked. They waved their arms and blocked the dragon-scaled willow leaves. However, the horrifying dragon-scaled willow leaves had penetrated Thousand Weapons Great Demon's body instantly. How dare you attack our Dragon King? Courting death. Willow Deity looked at Thousand Weapons Great Demon and said coldly, "What?" The sudden battle and the sudden death of a great demon from the Demon God Palace shocked all the surrounding demonic beasts and they looked over. Even the eyes of some of the other monsters were filled with astonishment. When the great demons of the demon god palace saw Thousand Weapons' great demon being killed in an instant, their pupils constricted and their eyes were filled with solemnity and murderous intent. They stared at Wang Xian and Willow Deity coldly. "How dare you attack our Dragon King?" "Dragon King?" Poor they. At this time, a surprised voice came from behind. "Dragon King?" There were not many who could be addressed in this way. "Father! Father!" At this time, the descendants of Thousand Weapons' great demon exclaimed as they flew over immediately. "Palace Master, they killed our father. You have to avenge our father." The descendants of Thousand Weapons' great demon wailed in fear and anger. "Dragon King? Dragon King of the Milky Way Dragon Palace?" The bird-headed palace master of the demon god palace stared at Wang Xian. "Dragon Palace, Dragon King." Wang Xian looked across them and said plainly, "Dragon King of Dragon Palace, don't you think it's too much to kill a great demon from the demon god palace just because of a disagreement?" The bird-headed palace master said coldly after getting Wang Xian's response. Chapter 3173, Milky Way Dragon Palace Dragon King? Is it the 10th divine dragon lineage in the universe? The Milky Way Dragon King? I heard they have a purebred divine dragon? 3 primary races of the universe attacked them and were annihilated. This dragon palace is not simple. Thousand Weapons' great demon is a rank 1 universe venerable, but he was killed instantly. What realm is that girl at? That girl should be Willow Deity, a rank 3 universe venerable. I can't believe she joined the Dragon Palace. In front of the Sky Sea Dragon Palace, the demonic beasts were shocked to see what was happening in the center. Their starry sky was not far from the Milky Way. Such a big event happened in the Milky Way, and it was related to the divine dragon lineage. Over the past 3 years, the forces here had gained some understanding. Everyone was curious about this newly risen divine dragon bloodline. He was the one who attacked us. Since he attacked us, we will naturally fight back. But is there anything wrong with that? Wang Xian glanced at the demons from the demon god palace and said plainly, Willow Deity's current strength was comparable to a rank 4 universe venerable. He was not afraid of the demons from the demon god palace. If they dared to attack again, Wang Xian would not mind annihilating them. Although it would be difficult to annihilate all of them, all rank 1 universe venerables and below would die. Dragon King, have you heard of the saying that a strong dragon cannot suppress a snake in its own territory? When the great demons and 4 palace lords of the demon god palace heard his words, their expressions changed slightly. The bird-headed palace lord said coldly with a gloomy face. Hee, then you should have heard that a weak person who dares to offend a strong person will end up in a miserable state. Wang Xian smiled and replied plainly, Let's go. As his voice fell, he gestured to Willow Deity and flew towards the Dragon Gate, ignoring the people from the Demon God Palace. The eyes of the demons from the Demon God Palace flickered coldly. However, they hesitated for a while and did not attack directly. Hee, how domineering! In the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace, Dragon King Tian watched this scene quietly as his eyes flickered. I wonder how long it will take for you to pass the Dragon Gate, he murmured. But soon, his eyes widened and were filled with disbelief. At the front, Wang Xian and Willow Deity walked to the front of the Golden Dragon Gate. It was as if the entire Golden Dragon Gate did not exist, and they walked straight in without any obstruction. How is this possible? This is definitely their first time in the Dragon Palace. How could they enter so easily? He couldn't help but growl in a low voice, his expression changing drastically. There was only one possibility, and that was that the other party was a purebred divine dragon. The other party's bloodline was not weaker than the owner of this dragon palace, the Sky Sea Dragon King. However, the Heavenly Sea Dragon King was a purebred divine dragon, a golden dragon of the metal element. Good. Very soon, Dragon King Tian clenched his fists tightly and flew towards the depths of the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace. Buzz. At this time, Wang Xian and Willow Deity entered the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace. The Demon God Palace actually didn't make a move. Is it because they are afraid of the Dragon King's strength? This 1,000 weapons great demon died in vain. He was just unlucky. He attacked the leader of a powerful force and was killed directly. The demon god palace is not in the right. What? How did the Dragon King and Willow deity enter the heavenly sea dragon palace so easily? It's their first time here. Dragon Gate doesn't seem to be an obstacle for them. How is this possible? Rumor has it that the Dragon Palace has a purebred divine dragon bloodline. The Dragon King and Willow deity definitely have a very powerful bloodline. At this time, all the demonic beasts outside the heavenly sea dragon palace were shocked to see Wang Xian and Willow deity enter the dragon palace so easily. Was this the Dragon Gate? They walked straight in. It seems like the Dragon King and Willow deity are really not simple. The 4 palace masters of the demon god palace looked at each other and were glad that they didn't act rashly just now. We have the ability to take revenge. The Birdhead Palace master said in a low voice and continued rushing towards the Dragon Gate. They would remember this grudge first. Buzz. However, when they came to the front of the Dragon Gate, they felt a huge resistance. Even the Birdhead Palace master, who had reached the 3rd order of the universe venerable realm, was flushed with difficulty. The Dragon Palace wasn't that easy to break through. Dragon Gate. Dragon Gate. At the back, the demonic beasts couldn't hold it in any longer and rushed forward. Among the group of demonic beasts, a dirty-looking woman with a snake's tail flew towards the Dragon Gate. She swayed her body to the Dragon Gate and immediately felt a strong resistance. However, she swayed her snake tail and entered bit by bit. The demonic beasts beside her widened their eyes in envy and shock. Is this the heavenly sea dragon king's dragon palace? Such dense spiritual energy. After so many years of silence, there's still such dense spiritual energy? At the same time, Wang Xian and Willow deity, who had entered the dragon palace, sized up the interior of the heavenly sea dragon palace with astonishment in their eyes. As for the demon god palace, he didn't care about it at all. When the weak provoked the strong, especially when they attacked directly, they usually didn't have a good ending. Willow deity was a kind-hearted person. However, when she saw the 1,000-weapon demon hunting the snake girl as a slave, she might have been a little angry and killed it directly. After entering the heavenly sea dragon palace, Wang Xian could feel the extraordinariness of the dragon palace. The spiritual energy was too dense, just a notch weaker than the current dragon palace. It was definitely comparable to a rank 8 or rank 9 cosmic god nation. It was very strong and didn't look like the dragon palace of a fallen dragon king. Let's go and have a look ahead. The layout of the heavenly sea dragon palace at the entrance was similar to that of the dragon palace created by the system. Further ahead was the dragon field. When he came to the dragon field, he immediately felt his mind become active. The ability of this dragon field was similar to that of the dragon field in the dragon palace. In every corner of the dragon field, there were demonic beasts who had just entered cultivating. They were using the power of the dragon field to break through the difficult problems of the 10,000 years of cultivation. However, most of the people who entered continued to fly inside, hoping to find more treasures. Wang Xian looked around and continued to fly forward. There were 2 huge pillars in front of him with divine dragons entrenched on them. The words Dragon Cave were carved on the pillars. Dragon Cave. This is the same as the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian murmured and continued to walk inside with Willow deity. Inside, there were many dragon caves, similar to the Dragon Cave in the Dragon Palace. There was no energy in the dragon caves. Perhaps some of the treasures inside had already been taken by others. Wang Xian looked around carefully and moved forward bit by bit. However, he didn't know that somewhere in the heavenly sea dragon palace, an illusory figure was watching everything. Chapter 3174. Snatch bloodline on. What a pure bloodline. What a strong dragon blood. Is this a mutant divine dragon? Haha, I have waited for billions of years. For billions of years, this day has finally come. Finally! In the Dragon King Hall of the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace, an illusory figure stood in front of the dragon throne. He looked at the scene in front of him with excitement in his eyes. His dignified face looked terrifying at this moment. Good job. Good job. I was prepared to stay in your body. I did not expect you to give me such a big surprise. Ha. He looked at a figure in the scene in front of him, which made his illusory figure tremble with excitement. I must succeed. I must succeed. As long as I can steal the sky and change the meridians, I will have a powerful divine dragon bloodline. It will no longer be an ordinary dragon bloodline. As long as I succeed, I will be able to inherit the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace and lead the Sky Dragon clan to the peak. At the same time, at the location of the herb garden of the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace, he passed through many powerful restrictions and arrived at a herb garden. Inside the herb garden, there were many stalks of divine grass. Each divine herb had the shadow of a divine dragon flickering from time to time. It looked very mystical. This was dragon bloodgrass, which was very precious to the alternative dragons. The reason why the Sky Dragon clan could improve so quickly was because of this dragon bloodgrass. Not everyone could enter the herb garden of the Heavenly Ocean Dragon Palace. So far, he was the only one who could enter the powerful restrictions. Dragon King Tion stared at the black ancient box in his hand with excitement. He slowly opened it. Buzz! A terrifying energy came from inside. There was a black liquid inside. The liquid was wriggling and emitting a strong smell of blood. It seemed to be the blood of a living creature. Dragon King Tion slowly walked to the center and buried the black liquid in the soil according to certain rules. After carefully dealing with it, he walked to the place where the liquid was buried and laid down in the soil as well. He moved his palm slightly. His blood flowed out of his wrist and merged with the black liquid. Dragon King Tion's life force slowly disappeared until all of his life energy was gone. However, his eyes were fixed on the entrance of the herb garden the entire time. He waited quietly, waiting for a powerful opportunity that belonged to him. He was waiting for this transformation. Dragon King, this dragon palace is a little strange. At this moment, Wang Xian and Willow Deity, who were in the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace, were observing their surroundings. Willow Deity frowned slightly and could not help but ask. Yes, it's a little strange. This place is filled with vitality. It doesn't look like a dragon palace of a fallen dragon king. Wang Xian nodded his head. His face was also filled with doubts. The dragon field and dragon cave seemed to be operating normally. It did not look like the dragon palace of a fallen dragon king. It's strange. This time, Wang Xian did not speak directly. Instead, he transmitted a message. Be careful. Let's go and take a look ahead. As he spoke, he continued flying forward. After flying for a few minutes, they saw powerful law energies in front of them. Through the power of the laws, one could vaguely see the herb gardens in front of them. In front of them, there were many demonic beasts searching carefully, wanting to enter. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the crowd. Among this group of people, there were more than 10 great demons. He squinted his eyes slightly and scanned the area ahead. If this is the Dragon Palace, it will be difficult for the entire Dragon Palace to continue operating after my death, let alone these laws. Wang Xian murmured to Willow Deity. He had obtained the complete inheritance of the Divine Dragon tribe and was very clear about the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace was equivalent to the Divine Dragon Kingdom. Once the Divine Dragon died, the Dragon Palace would gradually decline. But this Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace still had rules and the power of the laws. There was only one possibility. The Heavenly Sea Dragon King was not dead. There are two possibilities. First, he is in a deep slumber after suffering heavy injuries. Second, he is trapped somewhere. Willow Deity pondered. No, if he is in a deep slumber or trapped, the Dragon Palace should not open by itself. The Heavenly Sea Dragon King is inside. Wang Xian shook his head. His eyes were filled with vigilance. A Dragon King who was not dead and opened his Dragon Palace once every 10,000 years. What was he plotting? What was the reason? Wang Xian pondered. He was also full of vigilance for the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace. Although they were all from the Divine Dragon tribe, there were also disputes among the Divine Dragons. Just like humans, there was no complete harmony among the races. In the universe, there was competition everywhere. Let's go. I feel that the laws in front don't have much effect on the dragon species with higher bloodline purity. Wang Xian scanned the power of the laws in front of the spiritual medicine garden and spoke. Yes, Dragon King. Willow deity nodded. Her eyes revealed a tinge of vigilance. But since they were here, they could not go back directly. Wang Xian flew to the front and stretched out his arm towards the laws in front. Indeed, he did not encounter much resistance and could enter directly. He took a look at Willow deity and both of them walked in directly. They actually entered the spiritual medicine garden. What? They found a way to enter the spiritual medicine garden. SSS, they seem to be the second to enter the spiritual medicine garden other than the heavenly sea dragon king. At this time, the surrounding demons were shocked when they saw Wang Xian and Willow deity entering easily. They hurriedly flew over, their faces filled with envy. Wang Xian and Willow deity ignored them and walked straight ahead. When they entered the spiritual medicine garden, they immediately sensed waves of majestic spiritual energy. However, there were no divine herbs in the spiritual medicine garden. They should have been taken away by someone. What a strong divine dragon bloodline. Haha, it seems like I need to guide them. The success rate is too low if we only rely on that guy. And that girl's bloodline isn't low either. I can sense that she's very strong. It seems like we have to lure her to the side to prevent her from destroying the ceremony. When Wang Xian and Willow deity entered the spiritual medicine garden, the illusory figure in the heavenly sea dragon palace Dragon King Hall was murmuring with excitement and agitation. At the same time, Wang Xian and Willow deity entered the spiritual medicine garden and immediately found another spiritual medicine garden in front with many divine herbs. They were taken aback and immediately rushed over. Similarly, they had to pass through another law of energy. When they entered the spiritual medicine garden, their eyes were burning with excitement. All of them were universe supremacy level divine herbs. There were more than 100 of them. Chapter 3175, Plunder Bloodline. Chapter 3181, Plunder Bloodline, over 100 rank 1 and 2 universe supremacy divine herbs. This is indeed the dragon palace of a powerful dragon king. Wang Xian looked at the divine herbs in the garden with a passionate look in his eyes. Among these herbs, there were tens of them that belonged to universe venerables. These divine herbs could increase the number of rank 1 universe supremacy divine herbs by 5 to 6. Wang Xian waved his arm and immediately kept all the divine herbs. There are still divine herbs in the garden ahead. Did Dragon King Tian not enter the garden? Looking at the front right, he raised his eyebrows and spoke. Let's go. As Wang Xian spoke, he immediately walked forward. Once again he successfully entered the garden. There were still many universe supremacy divine herbs in the garden. He waved his arm and kept all of them again. That Dragon King Tian came from a different place from where we came in? Wang Xian was perplexed as he scanned the surroundings. He found that there were still divine herbs in the garden on the left. He hesitated for a moment before walking over. He's here? How did he come from this place? At this time, Dragon King Tian was slightly taken aback when he saw Wang Xian and the rest walking over. But soon after, his eyes were burning with passion. He lay in the soil and waited quietly. When Wang Xian entered the spiritual medicine garden, his expression suddenly changed. He hurriedly looked to the side. He realized that Willow deity had disappeared from his side. What's going on? This made Wang Xian's expression change slightly and he revealed a fearful look. He frowned slightly and looked to the sky. There was only one possibility for them to be separated in an instant. It was the work of the Dragon Palace Master. Because this was the Dragon Palace, equivalent to the heavenly sea dragon king's holy kingdom. In this holy kingdom, he could control anything with just a thought. Wang Xian scanned the surroundings with vigilance on his face. This is dragon bloodgrass? Soon, he noticed the dragon bloodgrass here and his eyes lit up. Dragon bloodgrass, a rank 3 universe supremacy divine herb. It was definitely a treasure. His face revealed a hesitant expression. He took out the universe AI and found that there was no signal. His gaze landed on the dragon bloodgrass again. With a wave of his arm, the stalks of dragon blood grass landed in his hand. Buzz. At this moment he felt a black liquid in the dragon blood grass. This liquid landed on his palm unexpectedly. A wound immediately appeared on his palm. A drop of blood was absorbed by the black liquid. At the sight of this, Wang Xian suddenly had a bad premonition. Ha! Success! Success! Just at this moment, Dragon King Tian, who was in the mud, revealed an excited look in his eyes when he saw this. The black liquid on his chest turned into symbols and surged into his body. The black runes entered his body, causing his vitality to recover. A smile slowly spread across his face. At this moment he took out a round ball. On the surface of the round ball was a divine dragon. This was a dragon pearl, a metal dragon pearl. Do it. He spoke to the dragon ball. At the same time, on a planet within the Qingzhou Trading Company, countless experts were gathered there. Ancient painting sect. 50 universe supremacies were gathered in front of a huge square. They were emitting an awe-inspiring aura. Behind the 50 universe supremacies, there were 5 million ancient painting sect disciples standing there, emitting an intense battle intent. And opposite the ancient painting sect, there were many powerful sky dragons. One after another, heavenly dragons with a single horn on their heads and huge wings were lying on the ground in a dense crowd. Leading them were Duke Tianlong and Matriarch Tianlong of the Sky Dragon race. Other than them, there were also a few sky dragons with auras no weaker than them floating quietly in the air. Compared to the ancient painting sect experts, the Sky Dragon race's aura was even more terrifying. There were over 100 universe venerable level sky dragons and half-dragons. Their terrifying auras made one shiver. Other than the hundreds of universe supremacies sky dragons and sky dragons, there were more than 2 million ordinary sky dragons and sky dragons. All of them had transformed into sky dragons. The smaller ones were tens of meters long, while the bigger ones were thousands of meters long. Intense killing intent was emitted from their bodies. Other than the ancient painting sect and sky dragon race experts, there were 5 to 6 universe supremacies at the center disk. The disk exuded the power of a formation. They were the Qingzhou Trading Company's supremacies. The experts and disciples of the ancient painting sect and the heavenly dragon clan arrived here. They had already waited here for a day. They had been waiting here before the Sky Sea Dragon Palace opened. To the ancient painting sect, they had been waiting for this day for 3 years. During these 3 years, they had been waiting for news from the Sky Dragon race. Now that they saw the Sky Dragon race experts arriving, their eyes were filled with excitement. Now, they were just waiting for Dragon King Tianlong's orders. As long as Dragon King Tianlong gave the order, they would immediately head to the Milky Way and destroy the Dragon Palace. Buzz. At the same time, opposite them, Duke Tianlong was holding a metal attribute Dragon Ball. At this moment, the Dragon Ball trembled and Dragon King Tianlong's order came from within. Hearing Dragon King Tianlong's order, Duke Tianlong's eyes flashed. Let's go. He lifted his head and looked in the direction of the ancient painting sect as he spoke. Let's go. Destroy the Dragon Palace and take revenge for the deputy sect master and left protector. The ancient painting sect's sect master got the response from the Sky Dragon race. His face revealed intense killing intent as he growled. Destroy the Dragon Palace and take revenge. Destroy the Dragon Palace and take revenge. The group of ancient painting sect's disciples and experts immediately stood up and shouted loudly. Ancient painting sect, don't forget to help us capture the purebred divine dragon of the Dragon Palace. Duke Tianlong looked at the ancient painting sect's sect master and said plainly, "Don't worry, the Dragon Palace's strength is comparable to ours. With the addition of the Sky Dragon race's strength, it will be easy for us to capture the purebred divine dragon of the Dragon Palace." The ancient painting sect's sect master said confidently. Duke Tianlong nodded and swept his gaze across all the Sky Dragon race disciples. Let's go and enter the teleportation formation. Yes. All the Sky Dragon race disciples immediately responded. Duke Tianlong, has our Dragon King Tianlong succeeded? At the side, Heavenly Dragon Matriarch looked at him. She suppressed the excitement in her heart and asked. He should have succeeded. If Dragon King Tian can succeed, we will also have a chance to succeed and evolve into purebred divine dragons. Duke Tianlong's eyes were blazing as he said, "Let's go and head to the Dragon Palace. We must capture those purebred divine dragons alive." Chapter 3176, Snatch Bloodline. Buzz Buzz Buzz. In front of the teleportation formation, all the people from the Sky Dragon race stepped into it and quickly teleported towards the Milky Way. This time, they were fully prepared. Now, the Dragon King and Willow Deity were both in the Sky Sea Dragon Palace. The Dragon King had been switched by Dragon King Tian. With the Dragon Palace lacking pinnacle experts, the two forces could easily suppress the Dragon Palace, annihilate the disciples of the Dragon Palace, and suppress the purebred divine dragons. This was their mission this time. Through the teleportation formation, they rushed towards the Milky Way. At the same time, at the Sky Sea Dragon Palace, Wang Xian looked at the creepy black liquid on his palm. Suddenly, he sensed movement from the ground in front of him. He frowned and his eyes were cold and alert. When he first entered this place, he didn't sense any living beings. Who was that in the mud? His dragon eyes flickered. Buzz? At this moment, Dragon King Tian stood up slowly. The mud on his body fell and revealed his true appearance. It's you, Dragon King Tian? Wang Xian recognized him and revealed a solemn expression. He stared at him and asked, "You inherited this dragon palace?" "Not yet, but I'm going to inherit this dragon palace soon." Dragon King Tian sized Wang Xian up with fervent eyes and a hideous smile on his face. Upon hearing his reply, Wang Xian had a tinge of doubt in his eyes. Such a strong bloodline. Such a pure divine dragon bloodline. Haha, if I can get your bloodline, I'll make the divine dragon race stand at the peak again. However, it's going to happen soon. I, Dragon King Tian, will become the strongest divine dragon in this universe. Dragon King Tian roared with ferocity and excitement. His body was changing. A huge horn, huge wings, and a dragon tail that was similar to a divine dragon. This was how he looked like in his original form. Feeling the aura of Dragon King Tian and listening to his words, Wang Xian revealed a cold look. "You want to get my bloodline?" As he spoke, he stared at the black liquid on his palm. The destructive energy shook slightly. Buzz. However, when the energy swept past, the black liquid did not dissipate. Instead, it turned into a special symbol. Haha, today, your bloodline will be my bloodline. I've racked my brains and plotted for 3 years just for this moment. Don't worry, Dragon King. I'll make your bloodline flourish. The power of the taboo, the most ancient magical technique, heaven-stealing meridian changing, activate. He threw back his head and let out an excited roar. Soon after, black symbols gushed out from his body and extended towards Wang Xian. Looking at the creepy symbols, Wang Xian waved his arm and the 5 elements grindstone appeared in his hand. Boom! With a wave of his arm, an ice frost divine sword slashed at the strange symbols that were connected together. Bam! However, what surprised Wang Xian was that when the divine sword of frost landed on the strange symbols, there was not the slightest fluctuation. He didn't stop her at all. This caused his expression to change slightly. At this moment, the strange symbol in front of him instantly entered his body. This caused his expression to change drastically, and the bad feeling in his heart became even stronger. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. When the strange symbol entered his body, the strange symbol that flew out from Dragon King Tian's body flew over rapidly. The 5 elements grindstone tried to resist, but to no avail. When the strange symbol entered Wang Xian's body, he felt extremely cold all over. This strange symbol connected him and Dragon King Tian. Haha, this is indeed a forbidden art. It's indeed an ancient magical technique. Heaven-stealing meridian changing. Dragon King Tian saw the strange black symbols entering Wang Xian's body. Through these strange symbols, he could sense the surging power of the bloodline in Wang Xian's body. This caused his body to tremble. The greed and excitement in his heart reached its peak. Heaven-stealing meridian changing? When Wang Xian heard these 4 words again, the intense uneasiness in his heart intensified. Dragon King Tian, who was in front, looked even more hideous and excited. His body shook, but he realized that he couldn't mobilize the energy in his body. This caused his expression to change slightly. Let's begin, meridian changing. I will possess your bloodline. I will wipe out your dragon palace, promote the heavenly dragon tribe, and bring glory to the heavenly dragon tribe. Dragon King Tian lifted his head and roared excitedly. Not bad, not bad. Well done. Suddenly, an abrupt voice rang out, causing Wang Xian and Dragon King Tian to be slightly taken aback. In the next moment, Dragon King Tian's figure disappeared. An illusory figure formed by black symbols appeared in front of them. The head was like a camel, the horns were like a deer, the eyes were like a rabbit, the ears were like a cow, the neck was like a snake, the abdomen was like a mantis, the scales were like a carp, the claws were like an eagle, and the palms were like a tiger. Looking at the illusory figure in front of him and the black symbols, Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. This was a divine dragon, a real divine dragon. However, it didn't seem to have a physical body, only that illusory energy. I've waited for billions of years. Finally, a divine dragon with such a high bloodline. Moreover, it's a mutated divine dragon that far surpasses purebred divine dragons. I haven't waited for billions of years in vain. The divine dragon's illusory figure roared excitedly. You're Tian Hai Dragon King? Wang Xian stared at him, his pupils constricted slightly, and he asked warily. That's right. It's me. I've been here for billions of years. Billions of years have worn me down, and I've worn them down in loneliness. I could have possessed them long ago, but their bloodline is too trashy. I've been waiting for a powerful divine dragon bloodline to enter. Today, I've finally waited. Finally. The heavens do not disappoint those who work hard. I'm very satisfied with your bloodline. Stealing heaven meridian changing. Use your bloodline to form my body. Tian Hai Dragon King also roared ferociously. In these billions of years, he had endured too much. However, this day had finally come. The bait he had released, Dragon King Tian, had not let him down. He had even given him such a huge gift. As long as he could form a body with his bloodline, he would be able to recover completely and get rid of his current appearance. See the light of day again. Step into glory. Wang Xian sensed the energy in the strange dark symbols. His expression changed drastically as he lifted his head and let out a dragon roar. He transformed into the body of a divine dragon, and mighty energy swept forward. It's useless. This is forbidden power. This is an ancient technique. You can't break free. Tian Hai Dragon King laughed as he spoke. When he saw Wang Xian's divine dragon body, black light shot out from his eyes. What a powerful divine dragon bloodline. It even has so many attributes. Good, very good. Now it belongs to me. Recommendation: I have an investiture of the gods. This book talks about dragon kings and divine dragons. I have an investiture of the gods. It talks about the main character obtaining an investiture of the gods that can summon immortals and gods. He can summon the earth god, the day and night wandering god, the god of fortune, the god of thunder, the goddess of lightning, the dragon kings of the 4 seas. Tong Tian, the rise of cities, sweeping across the world. Different stories, guaranteed to be equally exciting. Search, bookmark, recommend, la 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 la. Chapter 3177, Forbidden Art vs. Progenitor Tree. What's going on? What happened? Why did I suddenly appear here? I was in the middle of executing a forbidden technique, my divine dragon bloodline. In a herb garden of the heavenly ocean dragon palace, Dragon King Tian's body suddenly appeared in another herb garden. His eyes widened, and his expression changed drastically. What exactly happened? His taboo technique had already been completed, so why had he suddenly come here? He looked at the black symbols on his body, his eyes filled with panic. The reason why forbidden arts were called forbidden arts was because if they made a mistake, they would have to pay with their lives. Now that he had unleashed his forbidden technique, if he couldn't complete it, he would die. This caused his face to fill with panic. How did he suddenly get here? There's only one possibility. I'm being used as a chess piece. As the leader and founder of a powerful force, he quickly thought of a situation. In fact, he had his suspicions about the Dragon Palace. However, with the inheritance he had received and his knowledge, he was not sure if there was anything wrong with the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace. He had no idea how powerful the peak races were. Now that he had been transferred here for no reason, he was sure that there was someone controlling the Sky Ocean Dragon Palace. No, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. Dragon King Tian revealed a look of panic. His body moved, and he rushed towards the herb garden at the back. He wanted to complete the forbidden technique. Buzz. At the same time, the heavenly sea dragon king hovered in front of Wang Xian's herb garden with a hideous expression. The black symbols in his body connected with the black symbols on Wang Xian's body. This caused Wang Xian to lose control of his body. He couldn't control his body at all. He could only watch helplessly, his expression unusually ugly. Crisis. This was the greatest crisis Wang Xian had ever encountered. It also allowed him to witness the power and strangeness of some powerful races and experts. Dragon King Tian schemed for 3 years to lure him here to steal Heaven's meridians. As for the Heavenly Sea Dragon Palace's Heavenly Sea Dragon King, he had spent billions of years using the Heavenly Sea Dragon King as a chess piece, waiting for a purebred divine dragon bloodline. Wang Xian, who was in the middle of it, did not notice anything at all. He could not imagine it at all. This heaven-stealing meridian switching taboo technique might cause permanent damage to me. Looking at the black symbols, Wang Xian was a little embarrassed. If he died, he could come back to life again. However, this kind of forbidden technique could extract his bloodline. What would happen if his bloodline was completely extracted? Would his bloodline be affected after his resurrection? Heavenly Sea Dragon King, you and I are of the divine dragon bloodline. Why are you killing each other? He stared at the Sky Sea Dragon King and shouted with a sullen face. Haha, if you give me your body, I can let you go. The Sky Sea Dragon King laughed loudly and began to wave the mysterious black symbols. The forbidden technique had already been activated and could no longer be stopped. Buzz. In an instant, Wang Xian sensed a terrifying energy coming from the mysterious symbol. He could feel his blood and all the essences in his body being transferred rapidly. Feeling this terrifying energy, his expression changed drastically. Haha, I, the Tianhai Dragon King, am finally going to see the light of day again. I will roar again. Tianhai Dragon King sensed the complete activation of the forbidden technique and roared in excitement. Buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was panicking, suddenly felt a slight tremor in his heart. This is? Wang Xian was slightly taken aback and immediately focused. He saw the progenitor tree in his body tremble slightly and emit traces of fluorescent light. The fluorescent light enveloped his body and completely stabilized his restless blood and essence. What's going on? At this moment, the Sky Sea Dragon King, who was in front, exclaimed. He sensed that the energy of the forbidden technique had suddenly stopped. This was the first time he had used the forbidden technique, and he did not know why. At this moment, Wang Xian sensed the progenitor tree in his body slowly extending a branch. The branch wrapped around the mysterious symbol in his body. The branch wrapped around the mysterious symbol, and the mysterious symbols that were connected together were rapidly absorbed by the progenitor tree. The power of the progenitor tree. Seeing this scene, Wang Xian's eyes were filled with excitement. Within his body was the strongest and pinnacle Heaven Yuan Fortune progenitor tree in the universe. The Heaven Yuan Fortune progenitor represented the pinnacle of the universe and an invincible existence. In the past, when the heavenly formation wanted to take over his body, the progenitor tree had easily resisted it. Now that this forbidden technique wanted to take over the essence in his body, the progenitor tree living in his body naturally resisted it. Even though the progenitor tree had not reached its pinnacle, it was still not something a forbidden technique could withstand. Perhaps an existence at the level of the progenitor tree did not care about this forbidden technique at all. Under his senses, the progenitor tree's branch rapidly absorbed the mysterious black symbols. The mysterious symbols seemed to be attracted and surged into his body. What's going on? In front, the Sky Sea Dragon King suddenly realized that the mysterious symbols on his body were surging into Wang Xian's body. His eyes widened in disbelief. He roared with a crazed look. What happened? A series of mysterious black symbols were rapidly absorbed, and the black symbols in his body were decreasing rapidly. Wang Xian lifted his head to look at the Sky Sea Dragon King and revealed a faint smile. This forbidden technique of yours is just SOS. As he spoke, his eyes gradually revealed a sinister look. This time he had almost died here. No, this is a forbidden technique of mine. It's an ancient technique. How could something like this happen? No. When the Sky Sea Dragon King saw this, his face crumbled as he roared with indignation. He had planned for billions of years just for this day. But what was happening now? Was there something wrong with the forbidden technique? Or was it because he was just a dragon soul? No. He roared in disbelief as he watched the black runes in his body being absorbed. When all the black symbols disappeared, he suddenly felt a suction force. He felt that his dragon soul was about to be absorbed. This made the Sky Sea Dragon King's expression change drastically. I can't accept this. He roared crazily and struggled to break free. But at this moment, he sensed a part of his dragon soul disappearing. This filled him with horror. No. He waved his dragon claws and sliced his dragon soul into two. Half of it remained here while the other half disappeared. Rumble. When he lost half of his dragon soul, the entire dragon palace shook violently. Recommendation: I have an investiture of the gods. This book talks about the Dragon King and the divine dragons. I have an investiture of the gods. It talks about the main character obtaining an investiture of the gods that can summon immortals and gods. He can summon the earth god, the day and night wandering god, the god of fortune, the thunder god, the queen of lightning, the dragon kings of the four seas. Tong Tian, Nua, the rise of cities, sweeping across the myriad worlds. Different stories, guaranteed to be equally exciting. Search, bookmark, recommend, that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.